You ever walk into a room and instantly feel underestimated? Like before you even open your mouth, someone's already made up their mind about you. What you can or can't do, who you are or aren't. That feeling, that fire, that flash of, watch me prove you wrong. Hold on to that, because that's the start. That's the moment smart women are born, not when the world hands you permission, but when you take it without asking. You want to be smart, strategic, unshakable. Then let me tell you something, it's not about what you know, it's about what you do with what you know. Smart women don't move like everybody else, they calculate. They adapt, they observe, they respond, not react. See, Principle 1A. You must train your mind to respond with intention, not emotion. Smart women don't fall apart when things go sideways, they anchor themselves. When someone pushes you, you don't explode, you lean in. You really ask yourself, what's the power move here? You never let chaos control you. Smart isn't loud. Smart is calm under pressure. Smart knows when to speak, and more importantly, when not to. Second, discipline over drama. You want to be smart. Get your life in order. Organize your thoughts, your space, your money, your relationships. Chaos is a distraction. Smart women don't have time for gossip, for comparison, for excuses. They're building. They're focused. Every morning they wake up and ask, oh, what do I need to conquer today? Then they move accordingly. They say no when it matters. They protect their energy like it's currency. Because it is. Next. Learn to listen more than you talk. Smart women are silent strategists. They study the room. They watch people's behavior, not just their words. They pay attention to what isn't being said. You want to read people. Stop telling them everything about you. Start asking better questions. Be curious. Be alert. People will always show you who they are. You just need to be paying attention long enough to notice. Here's another one. Keep your emotions private, especially your pain. You don't owe anyone a front row seat to your struggle. When life hits hard, and it will, you don't collapse on stage. You handle it in silence, behind closed doors. Then you come back stronger. People love to watch others fall, but smart women don't give them that satisfaction. You feel it. You deal with it. But you do it with dignity, because control over your emotional state is control over your power. You ever notice how people wear their emotions like badges, reacting to every slight, every comment, every inconvenience like it's a personal attack? But the smart woman, she doesn't move like that. She doesn't let her emotions run the show. When someone tries to trigger her, she doesn't explode, she evaluates. She's not in the business of handing over power to people who haven't earned it. Because when you react, they control you. But when you respond, you control the room, you set the tone. And don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean she doesn't feel. She feels everything. But she's learned the difference between reacting the moment and responding with mastery. She doesn't clap back out of ego. She pauses. She processes. She calculates. Because she knows one thing for sure, emotional intelligence is a weapon. And silence, sometimes, silence is the loudest answer you can give. When the tension rises, she doesn't get loud, she gets still. She reads the energy. She studies the room. She lets everyone else reveal themselves before she decides how to move. You think that's weakness? No, that's precision. That's discipline. That's real power. Because anyone can yell. Anyone can throw a tantrum. But very few can maintain their center when the world's trying to throw them off balance. The smart woman makes it a ruling. Never let your emotions write checks your intelligence can't cash. She doesn't respond to disrespect with drama. She responds with boundaries, with silence, with strategy, because she's not living to be understood. She's living to be respected. And that kind of control, that makes her dangerous in the best way. She doesn't waste her life putting out fires that don't belong to her. She doesn't scroll through drama, respond to every opinion, or entertain chaos disguised as connection. A smart woman knows that discipline is the edge. It's the separator. While others are chasing attention, she's chasing alignment. She doesn't just wake up and go with the flow. She creates the flow. Her day is structured, her goals are clear, and her habits aren't up for negotiation. Because she understands that greatness doesn't come from mood, it comes from routine. She's not interested in being everywhere, doing everything, pleasing everyone. She's focused. She gets real with herself. What needs to go? What needs to grow? What gets her closer to the woman she's building? And if it's not contributing, it's cut. That's not cruelty, that's clarity, because she refuses to be a prisoner to distractions. She doesn't gossip. She doesn't compete. She doesn't explain. She just moves. Quietly, powerfully, with purpose. You think she's boring because she's not out here making noise. No, she's calculating. She's building a foundation that doesn't shake when storms come. That kind of discipline. It's not sexy. It's not flashy. But it's everything. It's the backbone of power. While everyone else is spinning in circles, she's climbing, inch by inch, with intention, with grit. And when she gets there, it's not an accident. It's not luck. It's the result of every single decision she made when no one was watching. Discipline over drama, every single time. She doesn't speak just to fill silence. She understands that words are currency, and the smartest women don't spend them cheap. While everyone else is busy trying to be heard, she's tuned in, dialed into every detail, the body language, the inconsistencies, the tone behind the words. Because here's the true thing. People reveal far more when they think you're not listening closely. So she listens, not to respond, but to understand, to collect data, to see what's really going on underneath the noise. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't overshare. She doesn't try to dominate a room with volume. She lets people talk, because the more they talk, the more they reveal, the more they expose. And she doesn't need to chase influence when she's already holding the advantage of awareness. That's the thing about smart women. They know silence is a position of power. They know it unnerves people. It makes others fill the gaps. And in those gaps, she sees everything she needs to. She's not passive. She's precise. She watches patterns. She picks up on what people avoid, what they emphasize, how they deflect. Every word, every pause, every change in pitch. It's all information. She doesn't assume. She investigates. She lets others reveal themselves, and when she does speak, it's intentional. It's sharp. It lands. Because she's already done the work of listening. She's not out here trying to be the loudest voice. She's aiming to be the one voice that can't be ignored. She doesn't let the world see her unravel. When life punches her in the gut, and it will, she doesn't fall apart for an audience. She doesn't post cryptic messages, doesn't broadcast her heartbreak, doesn't let the world peek behind the curtain of her pain. Because she understands something most people don't. Your emotions are sacred. Your struggles are not for entertainment. A smart woman keeps her wounds clean, not public. She deals with her pain behind closed doors in silence with strength. And not because she's hiding. No. It's because she respects the power of privacy. She knows healing doesn't happen through exposure. It happens through intentionality. While everyone else is looking for sympathy or attention, she's processing, learning, strengthening. She's not out here collecting pity. She's building resilience. That's what makes her different. That's what makes her smart. And when she returns, because she always returns, it's not with a sob story. It's with clarity, with a sharper mind, with boundaries reinforced by experience. You won't even know what she's been through, but you'll feel it in the way she carries herself. Because that's her armor now. Her pain didn't destroy her. It trained her. And she doesn't give that transformation away for likes, for validation, for anyone. She keeps it for herself. Because her story is her power, and the smart woman chooses when, how, and if she tells it. She doesn't rely on charm, appearance, or connections to make her way. She builds her value through mastery. She picks something that matters to her, something that challenges her, and she commits to being exceptional at it, not average, not decent, exceptional. Because the smart woman knows that when you become undeniable at what you do, no one can overlook you. No one can dismiss you. They may not like you, but they will respect you. She's not chasing applause. She's chasing skill. And while others are distracted, dabbling, quitting, and restarting 100 times, she's locked in. She's refining, repeating, pushing through the boring, the hard, the unglamorous. Because excellence doesn't happen in front of an audience. It's built in silence, behind the scenes, in the grind no one claps for. And she's okay with that, because her goal isn't recognition. Her goal is impact. She doesn't need to talk about how good she is. Her results speak. Her work carries weight. When she walks in the room, her presence says, "I've earned my place here." And she doesn't have to prove herself to anyone because she's already proven it to herself. That's the kind of confidence that can't be faked. That's not ego. It's ownership. She knows what she brings to the table, and that knowledge makes her unshakable. While others are building their image, she's building her capability. Because she understands the game. If you want to be truly free, if you want real leverage in this world, then you need to be excellent at something no one can take from you. Mastery is her weapon, and she sharpens it daily. Quietly, relentlessly, strategically. She doesn't beg for space where she's barely tolerated. She doesn't shrink to fit inside someone else's version of who she should be. A smart woman knows when it's time to stay and fight, and when it's time to walk away. And that moment, that gut feeling that tells her this space, this job, this relationship, this environment is dimming her light. She doesn't second guess it. She listens. She doesn't cling to places where she has to earn basic respect. She doesn't negotiate her worth. Because the smart woman understands that the cost of staying small is far greater than the fear of starting over. She's learned that not everyone who claps for her is in her corner. Not every invitation is an opportunity. Not every connection is meant to last. So she stops forcing doors to open. She stops trying to prove her value to people committed to misunderstanding her. And when she feels her spirit getting quieter, when she starts doubting herself more than believing, when her peace feels like it's being drained, that's her signal. She doesn't wait for things to collapse. She leaves. On her terms, with grace, but without guilt. It takes strength to walk away. Real, gut-deep, self-built strength, because the world teaches women to be polite, to endure, to keep the peace even when it costs them everything. But the smart woman, she rewrites that rule. She chooses her dignity over discomfort. She chooses growth over history. She knows that just because something's familiar doesn't mean it's healthy. Just because it once fit doesn't mean it still does. So she lets it go. Not with bitterness, not with revenge, but with clarity, with the quiet, grounded confidence that says, I'm not leaving because I'm weak. I'm leaving because I've outgrown this. She doesn't let loyalty become a prison. She doesn't stay just because she invested time, energy, love. Time doesn't validate disrespect. Years don't justify mistreatment. She's not afraid to lose people, jobs, titles, because she's not afraid to find herself. And that's the difference. She knows that every time she walks away from something that isn't right, she walks towards something that is. Something aligned. Something real. Something worthy. You want to know what makes a woman powerful. It's not just what she builds. It's what she's willing to leave behind. It's her ability to say, this no longer serves me, and then act on it. She doesn't keep herself small just to keep others comfortable. She doesn't water herself down to be digestible. She rises. And yes, people might talk. They might say she's cold, difficult, ungrateful. Let them. Their comfort is not her responsibility. Her growth is. And it's not easy. It never is. The hardest decisions are always the quiet ones. The nights you lie awake wondering if walking away was the right move. The moments you doubt yourself because you chose solitude over settling. But she walks through that. She faces that discomfort head-on because she knows the alternative. Staying stuck, staying silent, staying unseen, is far more dangerous, and that clarity, that self-awareness becomes her armor. She may feel the sting of loss, but she'll never feel the regret of self-betrayal. She builds her life around truth, and sometimes the truth is this: you're not the problem. The room is too small, the love isn't mutual, the job is misaligned, and no amount of effort, perfection, or patience will make it right. So she stops trying to make herself fit. She stops over-explaining, overextending, overperforming. She reclaims her energy, she reclaims her direction, and she walks, not away from something but toward the woman she's becoming. That kind of strength, that kind of clarity, it doesn't come from books. It comes from lived experience, from broken moments that taught her where she went wrong and what she'll never accept again. She's learned that her silence is not submission. Her exit is not weakness. It's strategy. It's survival. And most of all, it's freedom. And when she walks, she doesn't slam doors. She closes them gently, but firmly. She doesn't wish harm. She doesn't carry resentment. She just decides that her peace, her power, her presence is too valuable to waste on environments that don't honor her. She walks with her head high and her standards higher. Because once you realize that your worth isn't up for debate, You stop sitting at tables where you have to constantly prove it. So she walks. And the world might not understand. People might judge. That's not her focus. Her focus is progress. Her focus is stacking quiet wins until she's so far ahead. The same people who doubted her have no choice but to ask how she did it. And she still won't explain. Because by then, she's already on to the next level. The smart woman doesn't stop to prove herself. She doesn't chase recognition. She lets her results introduce her every time she enters a room. And yes, it's lonely sometimes, walking in silence while others make noise, watching others get attention while you get overlooked. But the smart woman understands that is the test. That space where no one believes in you yet. That's where you learn to believe in yourself. That's where you become dangerous. Because when you stop needing validation, you become untouchable. So she lets them underestimate her, she lets them sleep on her, because she knows that underestimation is fuel, it's fire, it's focus. And when the moment comes, when she decides it's time, she won't need to scream. She'll deliver. And the same people who once ignored her, they'll realize they were watching a storm form in silence. She's not chasing attention, she's commanding respect. And there's a big difference. Attention is cheap, it's loud, it fades. Respect. That's earned. That's felt. That's lasting. The smart woman doesn't walk into a room needing to be seen. She walks in already knowing who she is. She doesn't need validation to feel significant. She's not performing for applause or approval. She's rooted in substance, not surface. Because she knows anyone can attract eyes, but only a few can hold weight. She doesn't post for likes, dress for compliments, speak for claps. She doesn't adjust who she is to be more palatable, more marketable, more digestible. She is who she is, and that clarity, that confidence, that quiet power, that's what people remember long after the noise dies down. She doesn't flash her value, she walks in it. And when she speaks, people stop to listen. Not because she's louder, but because she's real. Because she moves with purpose, not performance. The smart woman doesn't ask you to respect her. She shows you why you should. Through her consistency, through her integrity, through the way she carries herself when no one's watching. She's not out here selling an image. She's living her truth. You won't catch her oversharing to gain sympathy or overselling to gain approval. She lets her actions speak, and they always do. She knows that attention be manipulated, but respect is built. It's built in the way she says no without apology, in the way she sets boundaries and keeps them. In the way she refuses to shrink to fit anyone's comfort zone. She doesn't try to outshine anyone, she just refuses to dim her own light. And that alone shifts the energy around her. People might not understand her. They might label her too serious, too intense, too much. But that doesn't stop her, it focuses her. Because she's not here to entertain. She's here to elevate. And if that intimidates people, so be it. She's not here to make everyone feel comfortable. She's here to show what happens when a woman owns her space without compromise. When she walks into a room, she's not trying to take up space. She owns it. She doesn't speak to be heard. She speaks to be felt. And when she's silent, even that leaves an impact. Because there's something about a woman who doesn't need to prove anything, who simply is. That presence. That's what makes people stand a little straighter, think a little deeper, watch a little closer. That's not attention. That's influence, an influence built on respect. That's power, real power. The kind that doesn't fade when the spotlight moves on. The kind that doesn't need to be shouted. The kind that walks in the room before she even says a word. That's the smart woman. She doesn't need to be liked. She just needs to be heard, once. Because when she speaks, it lands. And when she leads, people follow. Not because they have to, but because they want to. So understand this. Being a smart woman isn't about being the loudest voice, the prettiest face, or the most liked in the room. It's about being rooted in who you are, disciplined in how you move, and unwavering in what you stand for. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't chase what's shallow. You build what's solid. You protect your energy, your peace, your identity, and your growth like your life depends on it, because it does. Let them talk. Let them underestimate you. Let them think they've figured you out. Because while they're distracted, you're evolving. You're sharpening. You're stepping into your next level. You're not just becoming smarter. you're becoming untouchable. And that's the kind of woman no one forgets.